Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. My name is Laura at Girl Global and these are my travel tips. Disclosures. So I'm talking about our recent experience traveling to Portugal when it was a green country and then back from Portugal when it was an amber country. Things obviously change all the time at the moment, as we all know. So what I'm saying may not apply tomorrow even. So definitely do check everything on the Gov website if you are traveling. Secondly, this video may come across slightly moany. I hope it doesn't, but it may. I do want to let you know that I am so unbelievably grateful that I was able to go away. I am grateful anyway, but also especially in these times, it's almost near impossible to travel, or it has been. It was all so worth it. I'm so glad we went, no regrets at all. Another disclaimer as well is that we definitely ensured that we got our vaccines before traveling. We kind of went into traveling quite blind, didn't really know, heard that you had to take COVID tests but didn't properly research it until the time kind of came. And so many things we didn't really think about. So I just kind of want to make this video to help all of you guys if you are traveling, just to kind of lay it out a little bit easier. Right, after that introduction, let's get into the video. So we knew that we had to take tests before we went, but we weren't exactly sure where to get it from or whatever. So on the Thursday, we were due to fly on the Monday. On the Thursday before, I was like, do you know what? I should probably actually research like what we actually have to do to get out there. I am so glad I did it on the Thursday. If it was any later, if it was the Friday, then we wouldn't have got our test in time to send back and to get it back before our flight on the Monday. Because you have to take it within 72 hours of flying. You cannot take it before then. So there's a quick turnaround. So, step number one is to get your test to fly COVID test sent early enough to your house. I think you have to order with it like before 3 p.m. for this particular one. Not everyone does 24-hour delivery. There is another option if you don't get it to actually do like an on the day, but that is more expensive, and all these tests have definitely built up in cost. We used the Gov website. I think I just picked the cheapest one that was near to us. I will enter the amount here, but it wasn't anywhere near as much as some of the others. First stress is that Helen never actually received hers. So on the Friday, she was waiting all day. She called them up. She was like, I haven't received the test, and your website said next day delivery if you order before 3 p.m. And they said, well, we have dispatched it, we've got confirmation, so it should be with you any time. It was actually on the Friday, so she needed to do the test and send it off before the priority post box, because that's another thing, you can only post these tests in a priority post box. And they said, no, hold in there, it will definitely be there. They then call back and say, actually it wasn't dispatched, sorry, etc. So the first hurdle we had to come across was Helen's test didn't even arrive. They then offered her to do an on the day test, like at the test centre, which is usually a lot more money. They said, of course, come in tomorrow and we'll do it for you then. It was still for her like an hour drive though out of her way, which was not ideal, but you gotta do these things. There's a lot of aggro you do have to go through. Hurdle number two wasn't quite as extreme for me. This one you had to sort out your own postage. So I thought, okay, Royal Mail, take it to the post office, perfect. Took it to the post office, they don't send COVID tests, which you can understand that is a big risk to them. You need to go onto the Royal Mail website, print off the label and put it in the priority post box. Perfect, but I don't have a printer. Who has a printer these days? Luckily for me, I've got a printing shop a few doors down, which I've never used before, but wow, they were great. Because I was kind of trying to get in time for the next collection. I was trying to do this as quick as possible. So I was just outside on my phone trying to sort out a Royal Mail thing. It cost about £5.60, I think, to send. But I didn't have a weighing scale, so I had to call Will to come out with my kitchen weighing scales. I was outside on the street with my kitchen weighing scales, weighing my COVID test package. Oh, eventually we got there. But that was another little hurdle, that some of these COVID test centres, you need to sort out printing your own label off. And so if you don't have a printer and you don't have a printing shop near you, I don't really know what you do. So something to think about, but yeah, also priority post boxes only. So that was step one, doing the test and sending it off. On the Saturday, I think Helen got her results like 9 p.m-ish. She got hers earlier than I did, probably because she went in on Saturday. And then I got mine at around 10:15 p.m. Step two, getting your COVID test result and attaching the documents to your flight, or like sending off the documents to your airline. This is what we had to do with BA anyway. So I uploaded Helen's and my documents. In the evening on the Sunday, I got an email saying that Helen's had been confirmed, but I didn't get an email that mine had been confirmed yet, and I had sent mine off before she had. So I was like, oh no, what is wrong? Side note, documents include your negative COVID test certificate and passenger locator form. You need to fill out a passenger locator form. That is not particularly stressful, it only takes 5 minutes. So I rang up BA, please help. My flight is at 7:30 tomorrow morning. My documents haven't been approved, I don't know why. And she was like, is your certificate the same as your passport? Oh, it's not matching up. Oh, actually, no, it is fine. We've looked into it. I've spoken to someone at Heathrow. They'll be fine. You just need to go early to Heathrow tomorrow morning, etc. And I was kind of left like, great, thank you, but I want to kind of go having faith that everything is going to be okay. I looked at the certificate, like scrutinising it, and I realised when they did the COVID test on my sample, it was dated in June, and it was the end of May at the moment, so it hadn't even got to June yet. So that is why I believe that the error was pulling up on British Airways. Fantastic. It was 9:10 p.m. on the Sunday night before getting to Heathrow at 5 a.m. the next day. I called the COVID test centre, which at this time I was like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? And they didn't pick up because obviously it was out of hours. Mum was like, email them, and so luckily they had texted, called, left me voicemail and emailed me back. I think I walked out of the room for like 5 minutes saying, we are so sorry, we've updated your certificate, sorry that the wrong date was on there. Phew, thank you so much. I'm sorting out the documents for your flight, finally, tick. But all is good. We got to Heathrow Airport, I showed them my new updated certificate. They were absolutely fine with it, and it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be when we got to Heathrow. So that was good. Then we had a beautiful, wonderful first 4 days. Honestly, Portugal is amazing. I highly recommend it. On day 4, we got texts from friends, family saying, watch out, think that Portugal might move to the amber list from the green list. And so we were just like, no. So all that day we were like, green list, green list, green list. Didn't work, it got moved to the amber list. First of all, I tried calling British Airways a few times, and they were so inundated with calls, everyone panicking, that they just were like, we cannot answer your call right now, and they had to hang up. So that wasn't an option to talk to them. So we went on to have a look at different flights that we could move it to or pay for separately. I think there was one that was like 250 euros that went straight up to 600 euros, which then sold out. Oh my goodness, it was an absolute scramble and a half. So we made the decision to stay in Portugal. First of all, it was just going to be ridiculously expensive to try and get back. Secondly, everyone was trying to get back, so actually from a COVID point of view, it would have been more unsafe anyway, with busy airports, busy airlines. Looking at the news after, it was like a mad rush for everyone to get back. We researched what we had to do. We had to do more tests when coming back, and it was more strict, and we would have to isolate. But we've got quite a long time left of our holiday, and let's just stay. You have to be prepared almost for the country you're in to change colour on the traffic light system. So we enjoy the rest of our holiday. It's absolutely fantastic. It was one of my favourite holidays. That is why all of this aggro was worth it. Having said that, long gone are the days that I go on a long weekend break somewhere, because wow, that would so not be worth it. That was the reason why we went for such a long time. It's also worth noting that when we were there, people were like, thank you so much for staying and not rushing back to England, like we need the tourism. So they did really appreciate the fact that we did stay, which was really lovely. But I do want to say that Helen and I are in a fortunate position where we do work from home so that we could isolate. Before you fly back to England, you have to take another COVID test within 72 hours of flying back to the UK. We called around. There was a place in the town that we were staying in, Sesimbra, which was absolutely beautiful. I have vlogged the whole of my Portugal trip, so the next few videos will be a lot more upbeat than this one, so definitely tune in for them. There was somewhere in our town that we could go to, great, but they only did PCRs. 80 euros for the PCR, did not expect that at all. But on the government website for the UK, it does say that you can either take a PCR or a lateral flow. We asked how much the lateral flows were, and they were 30 euros, so we were like, fantastic, we're definitely gonna go for the lateral flows. But they didn't do it in the clinic near our hotel, so we had to drive 20 minutes away. Luckily we had a car, we rented a car for the whole time we were there, but for some other people that might not have been so easy, or you might have had to pay for a taxi, which would have probably made it up to that amount anyway. On the government website for the lateral flow, you have to ensure that it meets our government guidelines, sensitivity, the reliability, something like that. It says that it's your responsibility to ensure that the test does adhere to those guidelines. We had the test, Helen went first, said all good, no worries. I went in. Oh my goodness me, all of the tests that I've done so far, I've been doing it on myself, but wow, that was the first time that someone else did it. Shoved it right up, literally felt like it touched my brain. I'm not complaining because I know this is so great that COVID tests enable us to do so much more, but wow. The vaccine was 100 times nicer than the COVID test. They said that you're meant to get your test within 24 hours, but if you stay for half an hour, we'll do it here and now, we'll give you the certificate. We both got our negative certificates, and at the bottom of the certificate, it did say like the government guideline kind of things that it says on the Gov website. Step 5 is doing your passenger locator form before you get to the UK, and if you're in amber country, to book your tests 2 and 8 in. I think you have to attach your test number to prove that you've booked your tests in. You also, on your passenger locator form, have to say whether you're opting in for a day 5 test to release. But before you book your tests in, definitely know where you're going to quarantine. You don't have to quarantine in your own home, you can do it somewhere else, but you just have to stay in that one place. I didn't know whether to go home to my parents, they live in the middle of the countryside with a big garden, or to come back to my small flat in London, which doesn't have a garden or any outdoor area. I didn't really think it through. I was just like, yeah, my address is the London flat, and then I'd ordered it and been like, damn it, that's now my decision made for me. And my mum was like, come home, come here. But by then it was too late, and I was not going to cause any more admin errors by asking them to change my address. So the quarantine period is 10 days, unless you have opted in for the test to release, which is 5 days. However, it's not really 5 days, because the government requirements is that they dispatch it on day 4 of your quarantine to get there on day 5, so that you don't take it earlier than day 5, and then you're not going to get the same day results. So it's going to be minimum 6 days or 5.5 days. It could be 7, 8 even. So you've got to make that decision if you don't have to be anywhere, whether it's worth it or not. 80 to £200 more to be released 2 days earlier. So we got to the airport, lateral flow tests were all good, signed off, passenger locator obviously fine. I saw a line of people at the COVID test centre in Porto Airport, and I was like, oh my god, that would just be so stressful if you were trying to get your flight and waiting until you got to the airport before doing a test. I just wouldn't be able to handle that pressure. Both flights there and back, we had a row to ourselves. The seats behind us weren't taken, the seats in front of us weren't taken. They kind of dotted each party around the plane, which I think was really good. So yeah, it was absolutely fine. We got back to Heathrow, no probs. Took my last bit of fresh air before heading in on the Friday evening into my flat here. Quarantine, I didn't find it hard actually. It was fine. Like I had so much stuff to do, so much work to catch up on. The only things I did miss was fresh air. I say fresh, London fresh air, and walks, because I love my walks, and I did miss that. And I was going to do a 10,000 step challenge and try and do it in the flat, but I think I got to like 100 steps a day, because it was just, I needed to basically pace up and down for 2 hours if I was going to be able to achieve that, which I just did not have time for. The other people in your household don't have to isolate unless you get COVID, but that's the same for everywhere. If someone gets COVID in your household, you have to isolate as well. Step 6 is doing your 2, 5 and 8 day test. On day 2, I took it absolutely fine. The NHS called me every single day for the first 5 days just to check in with me, see if I'm still quarantining. They were really nice. For day 5, I was like, I'm gonna be the only person in the house tomorrow. Am I allowed to go and post my test? And she was like, yes. But that is the only thing that you're allowed to leave the house for, is to post your COVID test. Just a note with day 2, I did not receive my day 2 test results until day 7 or day 8, which I presume is because they're prioritizing day 5, because then that means that you can leave, and day 8, whereas day 2, if you're negative, you just have to stay anyway. I got my day 5 test results back before I got my day 2 test results. But what I did see for Radox Healthcare is that they prioritize / recommend you send your test back through a Radox box. So I was like, I live in London, there'll be one around every corner, I'll be fine. I checked, I would have had to drive 25 minutes to get to my closest box, and Helen, I think her closest box was 35 minutes drive. So this is something that we just didn't really think about at all. This is another hurdle that we came across, because both Helen and I did not have any petrol in our car. So I would have had to drive with no petrol, stop off at a petrol station on the way, and I was like, that is going to be totally wrong to do. I'm supposed to be in isolation, I cannot stop for petrol. I decided in the end I would take the risk and send it in the Royal Mail. I spoke to them and they said, well, they can't guarantee that they'll receive it because they've had people in the past that they haven't even received their tests, so it is a risk. But like the first time, I paid for a tracked 24-hour, so that is what I did. All day on day 6 I was like, please, test result, come soon. I really want to go for a walk. I think it's just because you know that it can happen any moment, you almost feel a bit more desperate. 9:09 actually, I received my negative test results, then saying you can now leave isolation. 10:09 I was out the door on a walk. That's how desperate I was for my walks. It was tipping it down, I think, and I still went. I was lucky enough to get it on day 6 evening, so I could go for a walk that night. You can't guarantee that. Even if you have done day 2, day 5 test to release, and you're released and it was negative, you still have to take day 8. When I got the results last night, that would have been right at the end of day 10. So if I hadn't paid for test to release today, day 11, would have been the very first day that I could leave. As you can see, every step was a massive aggro admin. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it was just added stress that when you go on holiday and you want it to be all lovely and relaxing, it really is quite a mission to do. We opted for the cheapest test each time, and we spent this amount on all of our tests. So it was quite a bit extra to add to the holiday, but for me it was so worth it. But that was our experience of traveling. That was like the nitty-gritty behind the scenes. You will see the full fun we actually did have in my next video, and next for you videos actually. Check the first one, which is Porto. But I do hope this video has helped you somewhat, giving you more of a background with what you have to do. If I do think of anything else I've missed in this video, I'll add it in the description box below, so definitely check that out as well. That is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you did find it helpful, please do give it a like and a comment, and subscribe if you do want to see more travel content. You have a lovely day, and I will see you next time in our Porto video. Bye!